this? We're gonna kill him.
Yeah, who did this?
Who knows who did this? And David's like, oh, I know. Mm-hmm. And he's like, let's go pay them a visit or whatever, And now they're like, an eye for an eye.
Yeah, basically.
type of shit.
Yeah.
So then they... And Nicole's family's house, the dad is an architect, right? Mm-hmm. So he's built this kind of fortress type of mansion home.
Because his glass is all reinforced and the doors are steel.
Mm-hmm. That's all, but it's in the middle of nowhere. Mm-hmm. That's the thing, is you've got to drive a good distance to get to the home. Yeah. So it's isolated and the perfect setting for the third act of the film, in my opinion. And so David... They arrive at the house, right? Mm-hmm. And they're trying to figure out, the family's trying to figure out inside what they're going to do, how they're going to continue life normally now that they have this kind of person kind of stalking them. And of course the dog kind of trusts David's character, and they have that this pivotal scene that's pretty hard to watch, but he calls Kaiser over and
he's like, Kaiser, here Kaiser,
here boy, or whatever. And it cuts, you see that scene, and then it cuts to the family inside.
You see Toby.
Yeah.
He's kind of using his dog whistle to call in Kaiser.
And you see the dog kind of work his head in through the doggy door, and they throw the head of the decapitated German Shepherd on the floor. Which is insane.
Oh, man. The dog did nothing, man. Innocent bystander,
right? And he's, what do they say? They're like,
you're next.
No, or they say the dog's no, he's the dad. He looks and he's kind of shocked at what he's seeing, and he's like, oh, and the phone cuts off. Mm-hmm. He says, the phone's dead, and one of the guys puts his head in through the doggy door and says, and you're next, man. Crazy. And then they're still like, oh, it's okay, like you've kind of built this home, and it's reinforced, nobody's gonna get in without the code. And she locks everything and sets the alarm, and she's trying to ring for the security that's down a few blocks, right? And he's like, no, the alarm is run through the phone line. Yeah. So they're kind of
now they can't
still fucked.
Yeah.
In so many words. And
that's when Reese is like, Dad, I gave him the code. He's like, what? And he goes and fucking runs over to the door, and right as it creaks open, and then he slams it shut and locks it.
Manually locks it, and looks through the peephole, and there's the classic scene where David or Mark is like, you should have, it all could have been different, Mr. Walker. Yeah. You should have allowed nature to take its course, and in the end it will anyway. So let me in a fucking house.
Yeah, his the way he changes super quick is insane. Damn.
Oh yeah, I love that scene. And so then they start trying to break in.
Yeah, they're banging on all the windows and all the doors and
using
trying to find a weak point, basically.
At some point, they start kind of trying to break through the front door with a hatchet.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah,
that was the back door.
Ramming it.
That was ramming it with a fucking giant tree.
A log. I'm like, where'd you get that from? Just went out in the back and chopped the tree down really quick.
No big deal. And they try to break down the front door with a small hatchet. Yeah. And she the mom drills the guy's hand.
Oh yeah, he's trying to unlock the door, and she grabs a drill and she drills the guy's drills through his hand. He's like, "Oh fuck this, man! I gotta go to the hospital."
And while that's happening, the security notices some lights flickering, and he tries to call the home, and he realizes the phone's been disconnected, and so he goes to investigate. And David tries to set up the security, and they're going to take him out right? when he pulls up, and the security is already onto him. He basically corners Logan and David's character, and the dad comes out feeling safe, because they got guns on them, and he punches both of them.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, one of the other
he was hiding in the bushes.
Goons or whatever come up behind, and they kill the security guard. They gun him down, and so obviously they have the father, Mr. Walker, hostage. And that's when they do this kind of nod to The Shining. At least I would like to think it is The Shining, the way that the cinematography is. And you get to look through. You go back into the house and you see the stepmom looking out through the door,
through the hole,
and you through the hatchet kind of entry, right? And you see that they have the guns to the dad's head.
Yeah.
And then David moves in front of him, and he's like, "You should open the door," like nodding, but it's just clear. I don't know. I just
it definitely feels like it's a nod
to
The Shining,
and Jack Nicholson's infamous scene. And so obviously the woman, the stepmom, caves.
Oh yeah,
and she opens up the door and lets them in, and they tie them up, and the best friend, Logan, he's like, "I'm gonna go see what's upstairs," or whatever. And he really has a thing for Nicole.
Yeah, because I think there's a few times where he's kind of like pointed at
acknowledges
her while him and what's her name are making out.
Like really creepy.
Yeah, he's like, "Hey, what's up? You're next."
I'm coming for you.
Yeah.
And so he goes in the room. And Margot attacks him to try to save Nicole, and he kind of beats the shit out of her. And then...
meanwhile, while this is happening, the brother has escaped through his room, through his bathroom window.
And he goes down into the garage to go to the phone, the cellular phone that's connected to the car. So he gets into the garage, and that's when he runs down the other guy that killed the security guard. He was on watch, and he hears something in the garage, and he fires a few shots off, and the kid is able to run him down.
Yeah.
And kill him, I think. And then he calls 911. So the police are en route, and you go back upstairs, right?
Yeah.
And David is tying up the mom and dad, and he goes upstairs, and he's already told Logan Nicole isn't a part of this game, stay away from her.
Yeah.
And he's, I feel like he's grabbing her or manhandling her.
He's trying to do something. He's trying to think.
And he David grabs him and fucking shoots him in the head like it's nothing.
Like, hey, what's up, buddy?
I told you.
Yeah. Oh, there's like no second warnings, I guess. It's just one time.
It's like, I don't give a shit.
Yeah.
But then he like kisses Nicole on the cheek.
Yeah, he's like, it's gonna be okay.
And then he's like, he grabs the dad and he's like, time to give away the bride.
Yeah, so
some of the
crazy
one-liners, dude, are insane. And so he's gonna kill the father because he thinks that's the biggest obstacle of him. In his mind, he thinks that's
why Nicole doesn't want to be with him.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So he's gonna kill the dad, and Nicole stops him, and then so the son, Toby, right, has already worked his way inside the house and
uncuffed the stepmom,
which she goes upstairs and uncuffs the dad, who's sitting in the doorway, and he goes after David before it's too late. And there's the final kind of fight scene between him and David, or Mark Wahlberg, and they tussle around the room before Mr. Walker throws David through the window.
His swan dive.
On the top floor.
Yeah.
And he definitely takes a crazy fall.
Yeah.
When you see his body flying, I have no idea how they even did that.
Yeah.
It looks good.
That's pretty good, yeah. It was awesome.
When he just hits the...
he just went whack. That's it.
You see his...
just blood coming out of his nose and...
And it's a very abrupt ending. They show kind of the sunrise, and the police have already arrived, and they've taped off the house, and the movie. The
credits roll.
The credits roll, right?
Yeah, then fade to black.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the movie was awesome.
I thought it was good, man.
Yeah,
it's executed very well, and
I still can't believe it had a 30% only.
37.
37. That's still crazy though.
There's some good moments in this, man. Good moments. Do you want to hear the 1996 Siskel and Ebert review of the film? I don't know if you ever watched their show, but
I used to watch it. Yeah,
they go back and forth and kind of argue with each other. Yeah. Well, this one is pretty awesome. Okay. This is the late Siskel and Ebert talking about the film.
Let's do it.
Our next film is the Don't Date Strangers thriller called Fear, and what an inspired title that is, and what a trashy movie, too. It's about a teenage girl from Seattle who has just moved in with her divorced dad, his new wife, and she befriends a strange young man in town who has already helped her violate one curfew. He comes over now to pick her up for a second date.
Nicole!
Yeah?
Get me a Coke.
Okay, I'll be right there.
Hey, thank you. You almost ready?
That's Mark Wahlberg, the former rapper, as the creep, and Reese Witherspoon as the daughter. He turns her on, but turns off her dad, played by William Petersen.
I know about things coming apart at work. I also know you ain't keeping up, so to speak, your end of the bargain with the missus. Relax, Steve. We're friends. We're practically family.
But the third act of the film is pure mayhem as the creep and three of his even creepier thug buddies come looking for vengeance at William Petersen's home.
It all could have been different, Mr. Walker. We should have allowed nature to take its course. In the end, it will anyway. So let me down!
I was shocked that Fear was made by the fine filmmaker James Foley and get a load of his credits. Edgy pictures like At Close Range, After Dark, My Sweet, and also Glengarry Glen Ross. This film, Fear, is not worthy of his talent or your attendance.
I completely disagree with you. I was really surprised by how effective this movie was. I thought Mark Wahlberg and Reese Witherspoon were so effective as this couple, and the way that he is able to smooth talk her and kind of get her confidence and seem like
her,
such
but
a
not
nice
the
guy.
Father. Roger, not the
William
family.
Petersen, the scene between Wahlberg and Petersen outside the school, when the two men are threatening each other, that was really riveting, because that young creep had a way to really get underneath the older man's skin. He really knew how to stick it in and twist it, and I felt that this movie was surprisingly suspenseful and also psychologically very much on target.
No, I don't think it's on target, Roger, because I don't think, first of all, it doesn't get difficult to get a father anxious about his daughter. You don't have to be clever to do that.
But think of the frustration when you can't get your daughter to believe that this guy that she's in love with might be dangerous.
How about a sit-down feeling? Well, Roger, how about a sit-down sequence where they talk it out? I mean, there isn't that
picture.
They
did try to do that. There was a lot of good dialogue in this movie. I was surprised how well
I think it was so obvious that this guy was a phony to the father at the very least.
Yeah, but of course it's always obvious to the father and it's never obvious to the daughter. That's the whole point.
And did you like the conclusion? The third act? You didn't think that was just run through?
Part of it was movie making, and part of it, as a matter of fact, was plausible, believe it or not.
Oh, including the house, the fortress-like house? I mean, that's...
Sure, because he's an architect, and he built this house out in the woods, and he wants it to be.
Entering the fortress, it's a traditional movie cliche.
Back, Michael Imperioli and Oscar winner Mira Sorvino in Sweet Nothing.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my God. That was hilarious. Oh, man, I love that.
Yeah, I missed that.
That was awesome.
Man.
Yeah. Oh, that was pretty good. Are they both gone?
Yeah, I believe, because that's why it switched to Ebert and Rupert, because Siskel passed away. I believe, and of course Roger Ebert passed away a few years ago as well.
Okay. Man, that's pretty funny.
It is, man.
That's he hated this movie from the beginning.
Well, I feel like this movie does very much feel like a midnight movie.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's not going to be everybody's cup of tea, but if you are into this kind of stuff, it is good. And I think that it doesn't, like I said, it doesn't get the credit that it deserves, man. Yeah. It's got great sound design, great acting.
The story, I think the story's good.
A great score that you can't get anywhere. They don't even have this on CD, I don't think. Which is insane, man. Yeah. So anybody listening to this, hook us up with a vinyl release.
Yeah, really, for real.
Seriously, I don't care if it's a 7-inch.
Yeah, that'd be pretty awesome.
But let's have something, man. Maybe we'll make this relevant because we tend to do that.
Yes.
So let's get Fear. Well, obviously, they're gonna remake this.
Are they?
They're doing a reimagining.
Really?
Yeah, that's already in the works right now.
Wow.
Yeah, Universal, I guess it wants to reimagine the film from the